develop this Dhyana Yoga properly. But before Dhyana Yoga, you must do Karma Yoga. You know that, right? So Dhyana Yoga, how do you do? Some technical details he gives. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya sthiramanasa namatmanaha natyuchritam natinicham chailajina kushottaram. First shloka, the 11th shloka, it says, first you find a clean and a sacred place. You can't sit in the middle of the market and meditate naturally. Find a peaceful place, clean place, and settle down there. How? Put an asana. Sit in a proper position. Meditation is an art. You cannot just do it as you wish to do it. You have to find a proper, and how should the position be? It should be steady. You should not be shaky. You cannot do meditation in the middle of the ocean on a boat. It's very difficult. So I tell, body is like a vessel, mind is like the water. If body keeps shaking, mind keeps shaking too. So you need a steady place, clean place, and sacred place where the good vibrations are there. Then, now, nati uchritam. It should not be too high a place. Why? Because if you sleep off, you will tumble down and break a limb. Not like that. But it should be comfortable if you want to come out of the meditation and walk out. It should be easy. Nor it should be too low. Too low means some people dig pit and go inside and meditate. You won't believe, but once we had done an orphanage for somebody and we built one septic tank for that person. He never used the septic tank. He used to use that for meditation in the midnight. He used to think it's all covered and I'm safe. So it says neither you go too down nor you go up. You should find a proper steady place. How do you place? In the old time they will put kusha grass. Kusha is a type of grass that they will place first. On top of they'll put deer skin. On deer skin they'll put a clean cloth and then sit on it. This was the old time. Now you don't come and give excuse. Some students will tell, Swami, I didn't find kusha grass, I didn't find deer skin, therefore I can't meditate. No, that's the old time. Why? Because in those times they did not have these yoga mats and all those stuff. So kusha grass would temperature will be good. It protects, insulates you from the coldness of the floor. The deer skin has a property which repels snakes and insects. And then put a cloth on top of it. Then sit on it so that it's comfortable too. Patanjali Yoga Sutra says, asana means sthira sukhasanam. Sit in a proper way, in a comfortable way. In fact, when I met Narasimhamurthy, he asked me, what kind of asana should I sit on? Can I sit on the chair? I said, by all means. Make sure your spine is straight. That will come next. How should you sit? If you sit on that thing, he says, Tatrai kagram manah kritva yat chittendriya kriyaha upavishyasane yudyat yoga matma vishuddhaye. You sit with concentrated mind. You sit in the meditation and you are thinking everywhere what's going on. That's not meditation. You should be able to concentrate better. And chitta and indriya, akriya, all the senses should not be engaged. They should be steady. See, senses means you can close your eyes, but your mind keeps seeing, no? You can close your ears, but you keep imagining sounds. So all that also has to be cut off during this meditation is what he says. And why should you do this? Because you should do it for your own purification, he says. See, when we sit for meditation, the Master the Mind series we saw, first level is collect all your thoughts, watch and all your thoughts, categorize them, discard those which are unwanted thoughts, retain only pure ones. Then take one thought on which you can meditate. You people took Aham Brahma, Sarvam Brahma, somebody took some other thought, and continuously think about it till it reveals its meaning. That is the idea. So he says you must do it for your purification of mind. And how you should sit? Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayanna chalas sthirah samprekshya nasikagram swam dishas chan avalokayan. He says you should be able to steady your body, your spine, neck and head. You should sit steady, straight, and in such a way that we have 7 chakras, if you want to find out. They are not real physical chakras. They are all energy chakras, they are energy points. So they all should be in one straight line. So your head has to be slightly tilted for the Brahmarandra to fall in line with all the chakras. Neck should be straight. Should not be too bent, not should be too behind. Spine should be straight, even if you're sitting on the chair. Sitting itself is an effort. Can you believe that? We think sitting is just sitting. No, sitting properly is an effort. Walking properly is an effort. Talking properly is an effort. So this effort has to be put while meditating. You have to sit straight with your head and neck straight. And you should not keep shaking and moving. You should steady yourself. Then you must meditate on the tip of your nose, it says. Tip of your nose. Your vision should be on the tip of your nose and you should not see here and there. But if you tip off your nose, your eyes will start paining in a moment. Idea is that if you can do that, it helps you to focus in one place. If you can't, at least close your eyes and still meditate somewhere here or here. Tip of the nose or in the middle of the brow. One place. Or close your eyes and still think of the tip of your nose, not the neighbor's nose, your nose. Many people are interested in how the others are meditating in the class. Now they'll keep opening one eye and seeing whether others are meditating properly. If anybody is meditating more than me, if he becomes Brahmagyani before me, then they'll close their eyes and continue to meditate. Now I'm going to dispel some of these wrong ideas. But anyway, this is what you should do. Idea is that you have to hold your thought in one place. So if you go to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there are 8 limbs of Patanjali. That also has been spoken of in Master the Mind. But it simply says that start with Yama, Niyama, basic disciplines of life. Yama, external discipline. Niyama, internal discipline. Why you should start? Because without disciplining your mind, you cannot meditate. Then comes Pranayama, control of breath, steady breathing. Then Pratyahara. Pratyahara is the ability to disengage the mind from other senses and engage them in the meditative process. Both. Disengaging won't help. Engaging it back into a meditative process. Then Dharana. What is Dharana? Dharana, it says to steady your mind in one place, like on your tip of the nose. Or anything, on a God's photo, or on a thought like Aham Brahma, Sarvam Brahma. Anything, when you hold your thought in a particular place, or a particular object, or particular idea, that is called Dharana. That is, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it defines as Desha Bandha Chittasya Dharana. To keep it in one place, steadily one thought. That is Dharana. And what is Dhyana then next stage, which is what we are talking about? He says when Dharana automatically prolongs for a long time, it becomes Dhyana. Like small nap turns into a deep sleep if you stay there in the maths class too long. That is the idea of Dharana. You may start with a small nap anyway, small nap I will take, but you nap long enough, you will fall in deep sleep stage. So meditation is not something that we can do. It should happen to us. See, this is very crucial to understand. Everybody says, today I'm going to sit 20 minutes and meditate. You can't meditate. You can prepare yourself for meditation, concentrate your mind on one thought and wait for that meditation to happen, prolong itself. Like I tell, when we want to go to sleep, we don't go and tell, I'm going to sleep now. We simply go to bed, roll up our bed, put the bed sheet, switch off the lights, wash our feet, hand, everything, and cover ourselves and wait for the sleep to happen. Sleep, we cannot make sleep happen. We can't tell 10:10 I am going to sleep today. Precisely at 10:10 you will wake up and see the time it is 10:10 I have not slept yet. You can't put targets to sleep. Like that you can't put targets for meditation. Don't go to these gurus and people who tell you in 20 minutes they'll show you God and 30 minutes you will be divine. No meditation happens like that. Meditation is a process that is naturally should happen. And our Patanjali describes very clearly, Tatra Pratyaya Ekatanata Dhyanam. When you do dharana for too long, Ekatanatam, stretch it for too long, it becomes dhyana automatically. So meditation is something that happens to you. You can't do meditation. Don't even try. You can only do dharana. Dhyana should happen to you. If you hold the thought for too long, it only becomes dhyana. And after dhyana comes samadhi. Samadhi is the state when samadhi, your mind becomes steady, there's no more vagaries, and you lose your identity at that moment. You don't even know you're a man or a woman, boy or a girl, alive or dead. You are just there in that state. Do we experience this idea anytime when we don't know whether we are a man or a woman, boy or a girl, student or a teacher, dead or alive? Every day we experience this. Deep sleep we experience that, right? In deep sleep, do we know whether I'm alive or dead, whether I'm a man or a woman, whether I'm alive, a teacher or a student? We remember nothing in deep sleep. So samadhi is something like that. But here you are aware that you are in samadhi. In deep sleep, you are not aware. So there's no point in having deep sleep samadhis because there's no benefit out of it. You don't become better person. In fact, once a person argued with Vivekananda somewhere in US. That time this hippie culture was too strong. And he told, if I take these, things that give me a high, I also will experience the bliss of samadhi. Why should I struggle so hard? Then Vivekananda says, yes, when you take medications and attain that bliss, you come out of that experience as a rascal. Whereas when you do meditation and attain that bliss, you come out as a saint. This is the difference. Lot of young people want to experience this bliss of losing their body consciousness. But what they do, they use substances. I tell there is a better way. Do meditation. You can forget your problems there also. Try that. Instead of trying these medications and pills and all kinds of nonsense, it leaves you a worse person than what you were. So that is the idea, this meditation. And what meditation is defined again by Patanjali, Tadeva Arthamatra Nirbhasam Saswarupa Shunyam Iva Samadhihi. In that state, the meaning of whatever you are trying to meditate on will reveal itself. And without any name, forms, or any idea of any objectivity, object in that. It's a thought that will reveal itself. It's very difficult for me to explain to you, but sometimes you can think like that. A teacher is explaining a maths equation for too long. You're listening to it, you're concentrating, but you're not getting it. You think about it when you go to room, you talk about it, you think about it during your dining hall session, during prayer session, you continuously think. Suddenly that answer comes to you, understand, this is what it meant. It happens, you try to observe that. It must have happened to many people. See, that intuitive revelation is the state of samadhi. Without your effort, effortlessly it comes to you. So we experience samadhi several times in a day, but we don't realize that it is samadhi. For example, if you get a shocking news, you lose your sense of all moorings. You don't know it's day, night, man, woman. You just come to a state of total shock. That is also samadhi only. Nirvikalpa samadhi. Without your effort, you get into that. Why? Out of a shock. Or suppose you are driving a car. Suddenly one truck comes in front. In that moment, you don't know what you are doing. Whether your leg went to the brake, what you did, you press the horn. Everything happens suddenly without your realization. That moment is samadhi actually. But as a nirvikalpa samadhi. We are talking about savikalpa samadhi also, where you can put efforts and reach that state. But the best of the samadhis is sahaja samadhi. When you don't have to close your eyes to go into samadhi, or you don't want a dog to run across your car, or you don't want your teacher to give you a maths test all of a sudden. Those samadhis are no samadhis. That's why beautiful story in Tripura Rahasya when Hema Chuda and Hema Lekha are there. Hema Lekha teaches this meditation to Hema Chuda, her husband, who is quite worldly. And he experienced the bliss of samadhi by putting some effort. And then Hema Lekha says, Hema Lekha, please don't come near me. I want to go back to that state of bliss. Then Hema Lekha catches his hand and says, what use is of that bliss which comes with the opening and closing of these eyelids? You should always be in that state of bliss. That is true samadhi. You should always be absorbed. Your mind should be absorbed in God while you act in the world. That is true samadhi. That is sahaja samadhi. So Dhyana yoga is all about meditating on one idea and holding it so long that it automatically becomes a part of your natural experience. If there is effort in meditation, it's not meditation. If meditation is effortless. Dharana is effort. To hold on to one thought is an effort. Dhyana is effortless. And samadhi, you don't even know whether you have slipped into samadhi. But there is a small calculation. Try it out when you can. I was telling these people, 9 seconds to 11 seconds if you hold one thought, that is dharana. 9 times these 9 dharanas, dharana is dhyana, means 9 into 9 seconds, that is 181 seconds. And then multiplied by another 9 times is samadhi. It means if dhyana continues for so long, like 12 and a half minutes, it becomes samadhi. Imagine we are not able to hold anything in our mind for 12 continuous minutes. And if it breaks, you have to start from zero. You don't say, no, I added 9 seconds before and plus another 20 seconds. Doesn't work. You go back to zero again. It's a continuous process. Imagine 9 seconds you hold your thought on one thing. Try it out. Start with gulab jamun or jalebi or something that is cooking in the kitchen. I'm sure you can hold. Now hold it for 9 times of that, that is dhyana. And another 9 times of it is samadhi. So if you go to 9 to 11 seconds range, samadhi is like 12 and a half minutes you have been continuously in the same thought. It reveals itself. Or 11 minutes if you take 22 minutes. But imagine our plight. In our whole lifespan of 100 years, we have not found those 22 minutes. We have not found those 12 minutes where we can keep our mind steady continuously. So what a plight of human life. So you have to, and this doesn't come in one birth. It takes many births. But again, it's a very, Krishna will tell, it doesn't matter if you don't get it this birth, we'll try it again and again. But keep putting efforts, he says. So once you attain the samadhi, what happens? He says, when you attain that samadhi, you are able to attain a kind of shanti, a peace, which you never can find anywhere else. So that is the idea of samadhi. Shantim nirvana paramam. It is after the nirvana, the shanti, the peace that comes, it is so beautiful. For that sake, people want to attain that samadhi, the ananda that comes from there. So he says that how do you attain that? It looks difficult. He says start with simple basic sticks. Don't eat too much. nor eat too less, he says. He says, na ati ashnatahastu yogo asti na cha ekantam anashnataha. You have to eat in limit, not too much, not too less. Then he says, na cha ati swapnashilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. Nor by sleeping too much or staying wide awake whole night trying to meditate, you will not become a yogi. So Krishna is such a nice, convenient teacher. You see, he is not telling you to do all that which many people do. Hang upside down the tree, stand on one leg, do some vrikshasana, or do all kinds of hatabandhas and things like that. Krishna is telling, don't do all that. In fact, you eat what you got to eat, but eat in limits. Sleep in limit, rest in limit. Limit is most important. This middle path of Buddha, what he says, that's most important in life. And he very beautiful shloka, he says, Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkaha. Everything in limits, yukta, correct proportions. What? Ahara vihara, what you eat, where you go, everything should be within limits. Then cheshtasya karmasu, whatever actions you undertake, whatever desires you have, everything should be within the limits of dharma. Then yukta swapnavabodhasya, sleep in limit, be awake in limit. It means when I say 9:15 lights off, limit it. There is a limit set. 4:30 lights on, limit set. Study in this time, eat in this time, play in this time, rest in this time. All limits. This system itself makes you a yogi in a small way. By putting limits to everything, and doesn't allow you to sleep longer than you deserve, doesn't allow you to rest longer than you need, doesn't allow you to eat more than you want, doesn't allow you to eat less also. Someone will be after you. Why you are eating less also? There will be somebody. Nor it allows you to play too long, nor it allows you to study too long. It keeps limits on everything. That is the first step, Krishna says, to develop a mind which can develop dhyana. Isn't it nice that we are living in a system which automatically puts all these checks and balances? Left to our own, how many of us will put limits on ourselves? Very difficult. Outside, people are living reckless lives because they have nobody to tell them what to do, what not to do, and they go by as they like. You can't live as you like and then you become a yogi. That doesn't happen. Bhogi rogis are possible. Yogi requires tyaga. First tyagi, then yogi. So you should give up all these pleasures. I will skip a few shloka, but it says how the mind of the meditator is like a flame which doesn't move when there is no wind. When a candle is there, flame is there, but no wind is there, it remains steady. It doesn't move even this bit. The mind of the yogi is that steady. Krishna says, Yatha deepo nivatasto nengate sopamasprita yogino yat chittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. By his yoga, he studies his mind that clear. Try keeping your mind for 9 seconds on anything. Try. It won't stay. 8 seconds it will go and then it will go away. So difficult. So the yogi practices this. And he says, why he does that? Because yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tatah yasmin sito na dukkhena guru napi vichalyate. The 22nd shloka says, because once he attains that, he is not affected by even biggest of the problems. They remain in that state of calmness only. They are not affected. Like Meera was not affected. She was in that state of calmness only. Whatever happened, she accepted it as a part of life and carried on. She never got affected by anything. Always lost in the Krishna consciousness. Radha did not get affected. Gopikas did not get affected. Prahalada, mind absorbed in Narayana. Father is throwing him from the mountain. Father is getting bitten by snakes, trying to burn him in fire. No effect. He is always steady. Not even cursing his father. See, that is the right amount of the yoga practice that they say. And why? Because biggest of the problems also we can deal with it very easily. See, this is why yogi you have to be, because life will throw problems at you. Every day cannot be smooth. When the problems comes, can you handle them? That ability to handle the problems, this yoga gives. The steadiness of mind gives. It doesn't get affected. That's why I say, check your spirituality by checking your mindometer. What is mindometer? How quickly your mind comes back to the zero. How much it fluctuates. The more it fluctuates, the less spiritual you are. The less it fluctuates, the more spiritual you are. If it doesn't fluctuate and stay steady, you have attained the yoga. That is the idea of this chapter. 25th shloka says, Shanai Shanai uparmed buddhya dhruti grahitaya. Don't try this that in these 20 minutes I'll become yogi. Do what you want. Shanai Shanai. Slowly you practice this. Don't get dejected and disappointed. I was telling, for getting a degree from a college, you are ready to study for 15 years. But to attain this yoga, you want to do 15 minutes meditation and attain it. How is it possible? Is it so cheap? The spirituality is so cheap? No. So you have to make it a habit and practice for a long time. And how slowly, first day mind will run here and there. Allow it. Second day again try. Third day again try. And keep trying to bring back your mind again to one thought. You have kept a photo in front of you, your favorite God. You want to meditate on that God, its form, its name, its qualities. But mind goes thinking about exams, thinking about parents. Try to bring back on that God. Like Ganesha is there. I'm meditating Ganesha. But again and again mind goes. Bring it back. Slowly you do it. Don't rush. Don't hurry it up because you will not be able to attain this. Yato yato nischalati mana manaschalam asthiram tatas niyamyait tadatmanyeva vasham nayet. As and when the mind runs, bring it back. Again it goes, again bring it back. This process you have to do any number of times. Have you seen how you started riding bicycle or driving a car? Every time you lose the control, the car's tires will go here, bicycle will go somewhere. Again and again you have to turn the handle, turn the steering and put it on the straight path. This practice is a practice of Dhyana Yoga. I am going to skip most of it again. And he says in 29 shloka, Sarva bhutastam atmanam sarva bhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. He sees me in all and all in me, Krishna is saying. It doesn't mean he sees Krishna in everybody. He sees the Atman, the divine in all and everything as divine. Isha vasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. He sees everyone as divine only. Shunishcha shapakecha pandita samadarshinaha. Same idea. Sarvatra samadarshana. He sees the same divinity in all. That yogi, he attains that state after having practiced enough. And he says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. The one who sees me everywhere and everything in me, to such a person I am never lost. And to me such a person is not lost. It means what? He is always engaged or he is completely absorbed in divinity that not for a moment he forgets who that person is. He always remembers I am divine. Can you forget even for a moment that you are a woman or a man? Once you are born a man or a woman? No. Can you ever forget that you are alive? No, because you know you are alive by being alive. You know that you are a woman by being a woman. Like that, this person knows that he is divine by being divine. So that divinity is never lost to this person, nor this person is lost to divinity. Like womanhood cannot be lost to a woman. Or similarly, woman cannot be lost to womanhood. Both are intertwined. The person who's alive, life cannot be lost to a person who's alive. Or a person who's alive cannot be away from life. So by being God, you know God. That is the idea. Such a person attains that state. Sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. Whatever actions he does, he is doing it as me. For me. That's why working for Sai over. Working with Sai was the first phase. Working for Sai also is over. Working as the Sai is this phase. You should become God if you want to work for God. Nothing less will work. So this is the idea. You have to practice all these things. As usual, Arjuna has doubt. After listening to all these, I am sure you also have doubt. Are these all things possible at all? You tell big things. Are these doable at all? Same doubt Arjuna has. Arjuna says, Yoyam yogas tvaya prokta samyena Madhusudana, literally Madhusudana, etas yaham na pashyami chanchalatva sthitim siram. He says, all that you're talking, Krishna, sounds good. Very nice. You become a yogi, you meditate, your mind should be like the flame, does not flicker. You will attain ananda, your sukha is amazing, you can deal with life and you can see me everywhere. All nice. But, etas yaham na pashyami chanchalatva sthitim siram. I don't see how I will be able to practice this. Arjuna is very frank. I don't think this is my cup of tea. It's impractical to me. It cannot be done by me. That is what Arjuna is. Poor fellow is telling what he is saying because he says, my mind is so restless. I can't bring it to this kind of state which you are talking. He says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati bralvadranam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. Oh Krishna, controlling this mind is very difficult for me. It will be easier to control the wind than controlling my mind, Arjuna is telling to the teacher. But how sweet Krishna is. When a child goes to a teacher and says, Sir, maths too tough, sir, I can't understand. First reaction of the teacher should be, Hey, dadda, ninge enu artha agala. No, that is not a good reaction. What is a good reaction? I know maths is very difficult subject. I understand how difficult it is. But let us sit down and see how we can work it out. That's a good teacher. How does Krishna say? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Asamshayam Mahabaho. No doubt, mind is so difficult to conquer. Mano Durnigraham Chalam. It is very difficult to control this unstable mind. I understand maths is very difficult. Athva bere subject yav. I know it's difficult. So the student is happy. Arjuna says, thank God Krishna thinks that mind is actually difficult. So it's not my mind alone. Everybody's mind is difficult. I am happy. Krishna says, Asamshaya Mahabhavo, question paper was tough. No doubt. That's why you got less marks. But abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihate. But there is a trick to control this mind. Practice abhyasa. Remember, as then when it deviates, bring it back to the original state. So abhyasa, keep practicing. You have done practice for everything. When you were born, you did not start walking the moment you were born. You practiced walking. You fell 100 times. Sometimes you thought you can't walk. But you learned walking. You learned bicycling. You learned swimming. You learned singing. You learned talking, walking, eating, dressing, studying, reading, writing, playing. All this you learned by practice. Nothing came to you just by you were born. Only thing that came to you when you were born was your breathing, which God put inside. Everything else you had to learn. Then when you have learned so many things, why can't you learn controlling the mind? Is Krishna's logic. Abhyasena tu kaunteya. Put effort, practice. When do you practice? When you are interested in it. If you're not interested in it, you will not practice. Why should you be interested in Adhyatma? Because this is what ultimately gives you true peace and happiness. You must know its value. Then only you will practice. So practice vairagyena chagate and detach yourself from wrong ideas. Two things. Practice to attach to good ideas. Detach yourself from wrong ideas. Tyaja durjana sansargam, bhaja sadhu samagamam. Simultaneously you must do. That's how you can control. More thoughts you put into mind, especially negative thoughts, more the mind gets disturbed. Positive thoughts calm the mind at least. Negative thoughts frustrate and make it restless. Especially in teenage, the thoughts are so difficult. You have to be all the more careful not to engage with such thoughts, such actions, such ideas, such visuals, such things to hear. You must cut off from all that. Otherwise your mind will trouble you. And he says, Asamyatmana yogo dushpapya iti me mati. The one who cannot control this mind, that person will find it difficult to do this meditation and reach the yoga. But the one who is able to control it will be able to find it easy. So you have to practice controlling the mind. Where does it begin? Put limits on everything that you do. That's where it begins. Don't do anything in excess. Then he says, Arjuna is not done. He asks Krishna, okay, fine, all this is okay, understand. Ayatihi shraddha yopeto yogan chalita manasaha aprapya yoga sansiddhim kam gatim Krishna gacchati. He says, okay, all this is fine, but what happens to those yogis who don't have enough shraddha? See, Krishna is telling, if you have interest only, you will do all these efforts. So he says, what if the yogi does not have enough interest and goes halfway and collapses? He says, aprapya yoga sansiddhim kam gatim Krishna. What happens to such a person who does not really put that kind of effort and realize the self? What happens to that person? And he continues to say, Kachin ubhaya vibhrashtaha chinna brahmiva nashyati. Little difficult Sanskrit. It says, what happens to that person who has lost this world and that world also? He got stuck in the yogi world. Now neither is a bogi nor is a yogi. He is between somewhere, Trishanku. Like a cloud that breaks and does not rain, nor it remains a cloud. Because of the wind, it is destroyed. What happens to such a yogi who is not able to attain the higher, nor he is able to remain in the lower? What happens to such a yogi? Apratishto mahabahu vimodo brahmana patihi. The one who is not established in yoga, what happens? What is his way in life? Where does he land at the end? That is his worry, because I may put effort, I may not become yogi now. So what happens to me? So he says, Krishna very beautifully says, and he continues, Arjuna says, Etanme samshyam Krishna chetur marhasya sheshata twadanya sanshayasya asya chetana hyupapadyate. You alone can clear this doubt, Krishna. Nobody knows this subject better than you. So you only tell me. Same Nachiketa says, no, na nare ravarena prokta. Other people speak, we cannot understand. You know the subject better. Krishna, you only should clear this doubt. What happens to the yogi who has not attained the highest? And then Krishna says, very compassionately, Sri Bhagavan uvacha Partha naiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. The one who has put efforts will never be lost to this world or the next. Like you are saying, you will get stuck, you lose this world, that world, both. No. It never happens to such a person who has sincerely put effort on the spiritual path. Kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim na tata gacchati. The one who has done good work in this world, spiritual effort, he will never meet with a bad fate. That I assure you, he says. Same thing, remember? Salpam apyasya dharmasya neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo. There is never an adverse effect to this. This effort is never lost. It will always add up, accrue, and you will always benefit from it, if not today, someday. So Kurupunya Mahoratram, keep doing good. Keep putting efforts, Krishna is saying, that someday you will attain it and no efforts will be wasted. What an assurance. And then he says, Prapya Punya Kritam Lokan Ushitva Shashwatiha Samaha Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Bijayate. Those who become Yoga Brashtas on this path, they have lost their way. They could not attain the highest. What happens to them? He says, after having attained all the punya that they have done, they go to a Swarga Loka or a higher Loka and stay there for some time. And again, they are born in the right kind of families. See, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe, Yoga Brashta Abhijayate. They are born again in the right kind of family so that they can continue their path from there. When so many children are born in ashram, I keep telling, oh, these are all yogis, rishis, they are coming back. And many of the children, they pick up spiritual concepts like this, like fish to water. That is because they have done this punyam in the previous janma, but they have not achieved the ultimate. Some desire, something was still pending because of which they are reborn. But when they are born, they are already equipped with enough knowledge of the past without them realizing. So they learn these concepts like this. Whereas many elders, difficult. So I tell, don't judge people like book by the cover. Don't judge people by their bodies. Their souls are ancient. Their minds are ancient. So this is what Krishna is saying. If you have done good work, your punya will accumulate. You will born in the right kind of family where you can continue to do good as you had started in your previous lives. He says, that is for the yoga bhrashta who have lost their way. What about the true yogis who are attained the yoga or just short of attaining yoga? He says, Athva yoginameva kule bhavati dhimatam etadhi durlabhataram loke janma yadidrisham. He says, otherwise, those who have transcended this by practice of yoga for a long time, they also take birth with great wisdom in certain families which will help them. For example, Shankaracharya was born. He was an 8-year-old boy, but what amount of knowledge? By 12, 13 years, he had remembered all the Vedas and scriptures. By 16 years, he had written most of the Bhashyams. Where did this knowledge come from? Because he was a yogi previously, or he was already Purvajanma Kritam, samskaras are there. That has helped him to continue the journey. So don't you get deluded by young people with great wisdom. They might be coming, their bodies are new, but their souls are old. That you should never forget. This is what I was telling when Narayan Bhatt passed away and wanted this mission to continue. I was telling in Kodaikanal, this mission is a continuation of the effort that began in Narayan Bhatt's time. This is not a new thing. This is a continuation. In fact, this mission is the fulfillment of dreams of so many people. I said Brahmagyana is the vision of all the saints and sages born on this earth. But they could not achieve it. They are trying to achieve it through this mission, through you and me. So this mission is fulfilling dreams of so many yogis who could not fulfill it in their lifetimes. This is an amazing mission. Final few shlokas, he says, Tatra tam buddhi sanyogam labate parva dehikam yatate cha tato bhuya samsiddhau kurunandanaha. He says, this kind of people who are born with previous punyas in a new body, their old divine consciousness which is already there suddenly comes awake. When they meet the right kind of people, right situations, they are awakened. So he says that yatate cha tato bhuya samsiddhau kurunandana. So further progress is made by further efforts in this birth. But they are born with this idea already. They get attracted to bhajans, Vedas, or any other stotrams because they have all heard this and practiced this in the past. How beautiful. And he says, Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate hyavashopi saha. He says, because of their past practices, without their knowledge, without their control, they are attracted to these good things. And he says, Karmibhyaschadiko yogi tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna. Therefore he says, oh Arjuna, in all circumstances, even if you fail miserably, it's okay. Still try to be a yogi. Try to meditate, try to concentrate, try to study your mind, try to detach it from all the other worldly things. Even if you fail, doesn't matter, because it will accrue and it will give you another birth in another place, in another family, in another situation where you can continue your journey and attain that yoga sansiddha. You can attain that perfection. This is, Krishna says, yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomataha. He says, this person who with great faith and shraddha abides in me through this yoga and remembers me all the time, such a person is yukta. Such a person is a perfected being. There is nothing more to attain for that person. So try to be like that. And he clearly defines at the end that of all the things that you do, To me, tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, jnanibhyopi mato adhikaha, karmibhyascha adhiko yogi, tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. He says, more than a tapasvi who does penance in the Himalayas, or more than the jnani who keeps reading scriptures, jnani means that kind of who collects knowledge, or the one who keeps doing actions with attachments, yogi is a better life. Even if you fail, it's okay. Continue to try to steady your mind, detach it, make yourself pure, and attain that wisdom through yoga. So please do that, is what Krishna is telling. So therefore keep doing that. Aneka janma sansiddhastatau yati param gati. After many births of efforts, we attain this. So don't give up just because you didn't attain in this 1 year or 10 years. Continue to put effort. And he says, fine, that is what he says. Those who think of me and pray to me and believe in me, they become the yogis. They are redeemed. They are free forever. And this ananda and the bliss and the freedom that they experience is something that you have to know to believe. You know, like how much ever I describe about gulab jamun, I cannot make you experience its taste unless you put it in your mouth and eat it, right? That is the idea of this Bhagavad Gita. I can tell about it in many ways. Unless you put a little effort and practice, you won't get it. So as I said, it's better to fail on this path than not to walk. Better to fall, but not to stop. Keep walking. Uttishtata, jagrata, prapyavaran nibodhata, shurasya dhara. Definitely difficult. Nishita duratyaya durgam patastat kavyo vadante. People have told it's a difficult path because paranchi khani vatrin swayambhu. We know all the senses are created as outgoing things. Turning them inward is a task. Not everybody can do it. But who can do it? Abhyasena tu yoga, vairagyena cha grihate. Abhyasa yoga you do. Practice, practice, practice. 3 rules to success. Practice, practice, practice. Then you become successful. Keep yourself under control in limits and checks. Don't do as your senses drag you to do. Control them and put them in order. You see? That is how you must lead your life. That is the first step of being a yogi. Then slowly meditation and all these things will come. Spend some time every day to keep your mind focused and meditate. Till a day when you reach Sahaja Samadhi, where walking, talking, moving, ashtanas, whatever you're doing, your mind is always on God. Next is Jnana Vijnana Yoga, also another beautiful chapter, very good concepts. Hopefully very soon we'll be able to talk about it.